Last season, during Season of the Lost, tensions among the PvP community were running high. It had been literal years since we had seen new maps find their way into the PvP landscape, seeing only the map Fragment find its way into the rotation in September of 2019. Between Trials, pain points, Iron Banner's loot system, lobby balancing, and the apparent lack of any intention of investing in the comp survival playlist, PvP enthusiasts have justifiably felt overlooked and undervalued. But recent assurances from Bungie leadership has helped to alleviate some of those feelings, I think. We know that in a few months, we'll begin the process of steadily and consistently infusing PvP with new maps to break the monotony, as well as more trials and Iron Banner changes down the road to look forward to. So obviously we also had Void 3.0, and we have the other elements, Solar and Arc, following shortly behind. And these subclass changes, they dramatically affect the PvP landscape. So that's exciting, knowing that we have some great things on the horizon. But in this video, I want to focus on where we are right now. Right now, we find ourselves struggling with the same things we have been dealing with for years, and we were sort of prepared for that. But the sandbox made a bit of a shift, and I'm not sure that it was for the better. I totally expected Void 3.0 to be pretty hot in PvP for a while. People want to experiment with the new stuff, create new builds, and that's great. But I think Void 3.0 is kind of going to define the PvP experience for a while. Titans, they have multiple ways to give themselves extra health on command and have overshields for the majority of their engagements if they're building into it. Quite literally having to play against people with more health than you in a game like Destiny, it's very frustrating, Consistency sort of goes out the window. Your hand cannon, it consistently 3-taps, right? That's what you know from it. That's what you expect from it. But then now your hand cannon goes from a 3-tap to a 4-tap, and your optimal TTK, depending on your loadout, it could be severely affected. It could really have some serious repercussions for your kit. Duels that you would have otherwise won, you lose, simply because the other guy has an extra health bar. So this doesn't seem to be a passing trend. This looks more like it's going to be the backbone of Titan PvP moving forward. It's almost too good not to use, right? And Hunters have new ways of going invisible that stack on top of existing ones that they already had. Depending on how they build for their class ability, melee ability, their weapons, their super ability, you could have a Hunter with 4 different ways of activating invisibility. I think that might be a little bit excessive, potentially. And, we're already seeing the comp playlist being, at least in my experience, a camo spam fest. So I want to come out the gate and say I don't have any predispositions against any subclass. I play all the subclasses. I love playing Hunter, especially Gunslinger. Gunslinger is one of my favorite ways to play the game. I love playing Code of the Siegebreaker. I love playing my Titan. And just because I have more time on my Warlock doesn't mean I only play Warlock. I play a ton of Titan Hunter as well, especially last season. So I don't have this initial predisposition against any one subclass. I'm not trying to pick on any subclasses. I'm just trying to be honest about what I'm experiencing and seeing so far. But I think that people get too hung up, kind of coming back to the discussion, I think people get too hung up on whether or not something is fair and balanced. I think that's an important conversation to have, no doubt. But it is possible, I would argue, to have a game that is fair and balanced, but is not fun. And if it isn't fun, people aren't going to play it, regardless of whether or not it's fair. So you could already be typing in the comments section, making arguments about the fairness of these mechanics, the invisibility and the overshields. But let's not miss one very important factor. It's aggravating. It's annoying to play against constantly. And if something is annoying and aggravating, people won't play it, even if it's fair and balanced. So personally, I don't want Destiny to be aggravating and annoying to play in PvP. I want as many people as possible enjoying PvP, in PvP, using their new guns, their new abilities, and having a good time. That's when Destiny is at its best. And I'm a bit concerned about how this season is going to play out, not because of players abusing mechanics, it's certainly nobody's fault. I mean, you get Void 3.0, you want to use that stuff, you want to build for that stuff, that's totally fine. I have nothing against the players that play that way. Obviously, this is Bungie's job to make sure that when they ship a product that it is fair and balanced, and that they're also taking into consideration whether or not something is enjoyable. So it's not all doom and gloom, though. I do want to say that it's not all doom and gloom. The PvE side of Destiny right now is absolutely banging. Witch Queen is seriously incredible, and we're still just getting started. I do not want to undersell the PvE side of it, and I don't want to just wash over it real quick. I want to make sure I give it the credit that it's due. The season won't be nearly as long as well as the last one. Like, the last one just dragged on. This one's not going to be that long. So we will be moving on to new PvP stuff in the near future as well. So I do want to give credit where it is due. But this season, the Crucible might be kind of rough. I do have to admit as well that I'm a little bummed about Voidwalker in PvP. I've been a Voidwalker main for a long time, and I had high hopes. And the new Voidwalker is awesome in PvE. I've got some great, Void Elemental well builds with my Voidwalker. I really enjoy playing. But the PvP utility is really not all that great compared to the new Void abilities for Titan and Hunter. And taking away the grenade-eating Devour may have been more of a detriment to the class than I initially thought that it would be. So I've already started playing Dawnblade again in PvP because I live longer. I go on longer kill streaks. I find Top Tree Dawnblade just to be more useful and consistently helpful in that environment in PvP than Voidwalker. Voidwalker abilities are kind of slow. The new melee ability, it doesn't go very far and it travels very slow. And it's really just meant to be something that starts, puts the volatile debuff on something, and then you can do damage in it afterwards. So it's great in PvE. But typically in PvP, people aren't giving you that much time. Yeah, go ahead and set up. Go ahead, hit me with that little ability. I'll stand still and let it happen. I know it travels slow and doesn't go very far. I'll let you hit me with it. I won't shoot back. I'll let you put that volatile debuff on me, and then I'll let you shoot me enough to detonate it. Like, people just aren't doing that. And same thing with like Child of the Old Gods. I thought would be really fun to play around with. But and it's annoying, to have those tendrils attached to you. But is it consistently helpful? I don't think so, because the amount of time it takes to set that thing up, a lot of times the engagement is over before you have a chance to actually capitalize on that Child of the Old Gods. So, anyways, I want to know what you think. How are you feeling about PvP this season? What are you experiencing? I will also note that I've observed arguably worse connections in PvP, despite the population being very high relative to last season. And I know that I'm not the only one. I've noted a few other people on Twitter have been saying the same thing. And so that's been strange to see. But let me know in the comments section how you're feeling. Thanks for watching the video. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.